Hello there. I'm David A. Specht, and I want to be your coach. If there's anything that I have learned in my 30 plus years of leadership and coaching, I have learned that mindset is everything. Join me and my guests as we explore the positives and negatives of that thing between our ears. This is Keep This in Mind. Welcome to a very special episode of Keep This in Mind, brought to you by davidaspecht.com. And of course, I am David A. Specht. The following is a training that I did in one of our communities last week about how the past can come to your present and can affect your future, both good and bad. So I encourage you to listen to the next few words. I share some personal stories and some things that have happened recently in my life, but I do believe that they will impact your life in a great way. Looking forward to what we have to visit with together today. You're probably saying, okay, David, what's the subject for today? What are we going to talk about? We've been talking about power. We've been talking about perspective. And it's another P word. Actually, it's two of them. And that is your past and your present. More importantly, when your past shows up in your present. Sometimes when we move on, and a lot of you have gone through transitions or getting ready to go through transitions in your life, in your vocation, organizationally. And a lot of times we think that when we move on, we close the chapter, we end the story, we end the job. But that's not how life works, is it? In fact, we bring our past with us everywhere we go. Every experience, every challenge we faced, our baggage, and of course, our relationships. Now, one of the things that I've been taught over the years, and I think it's been a good mantra to have, and that is this: the past is concrete. And what that means is that you can't go back and change what happened back then. But it doesn't mean that things from back then don't crop up in the present. I want you to take just a moment and think about the things that happened in your past or things you did in your past that you have seen manifest recently. Chances are you thought of negative stuff. Maybe you have poor reactions today in certain situations based on past trauma. Maybe you have imposter syndrome because somebody beat you down so emotionally that you don't think you're good enough in a given scenario. Or maybe you have a tendency to cope in unhealthy ways. Can I raise my hand to that one? You know, I make a joke about drinking too much coffee, but you know what else I do? I eat. In fact, I got to 320 pounds by eating my emotions. Any other stress eaters in the room today? Yes, I see you. Just kidding. Anyway, but here's the thing. The negatives are not the only thing from our past that come up into the present. And it's important, hear me now, it is important to recognize the positives, the things that from your past that benefit you today. One of them is your unique experiences. Something you've been through before, either positive or negative, and you've survived, or you've been victorious, or you got through it, or you had a great success, gives you confidence that if you could do it then, you can do it now. Cicely says, the person who controls the present controls the past. The person who controls the past controls their future. Very good. So those unique experiences, I heard confidence is the memory of past success. I want to say that depends on how you define success, because sometimes confidence is the memory of past survival. You made it through a tough time. You made it through a contraction in your business. You made it through whatever the project was. You made it through the worst of the worst, and it gives you confidence that whatever you face, you can handle. Number two, relationships. Relationships that you created and you fostered in the past and that you curated now benefiting you today. I want to stop there for just a minute. Well, let me do the third one and then I'll go back to my point. And the third thing, and there's more, I just hit 3 because we got 15 minutes. Opportunities to revisit some of the fun things that you no longer do because you have quote unquote moved on. We all do this, right? We progress in a way, and there's some stuff in our entry level or in our mid-management or at some point in our careers that we kind of miss doing. And 2 and number 3 came into play just yesterday after our live. You may be asking the question, who is Mike Johnson, your Speaker of the House? You see, I know who Mike Johnson is. You know why? Because he was the congressman in the district of 2 of the newspapers that I own. The years I spent in Northwest Louisiana, I watched Mike Johnson go from a congressional attorney to a state representative to a congressman. And by the way, most of the time he didn't have any opposition. Imagine that. But the thing is, I'm on a first name basis with this individual. And so I have a relationship there that is already established. In fact, I was making a joke with Cicely yesterday when the vote came down. I said, I guess I have to change the endorsements in my book, Old Dogs, New Tricks, because Mike Johnson has an endorsement in there. So can I leverage that relationship? Probably. Number 3, the third one, some of the fun things that I get to do. You see, I grew up in the newsroom. I covered stories. I love design. I designed newspapers. I was an editor. Those things I have moved on from most of the time. But yesterday produced a unique opportunity. Yesterday produced an opportunity because we're a weekly newspaper that was a Wednesday. We knew that the only way we could be timely is if we went online with a special edition. We're not going to pay to crank up the presses, but this was a historic event. The first Speaker of the House from Louisiana, and he's our district. So I got in to it all from that perspective. You may like him, you may not like him because of what he believes in. I'm not getting into the politics, but the thing is, he is the congressman from my district. And so as a result, we had to jump through hoops and put out a special edition, which caused me to get in what I would call the command center seat of the newspapers and start sending reporters to getting quotes and to doing the things. For just a smidgen of time, I went back to my past to do that. So what does that mean, David? How does that apply to me? Well, here's the thing. Each one of you have gone through something in your life that can help you now. And there will be opportunities for you to revisit your past. It may be in your vocation. You may be a part of a new team, and yet some of the experiences from your old team come into play here. And you're like, look, we did this here and it worked, and this is why it worked. And all of a sudden the new team starts embracing some of the things that actually worked from your old team. Maybe it's a thing where, okay, my job says I do this, but there's this opportunity over here that I can take advantage of because of a relationship, or I can take advantage of because of a skill set. For me, a lot of times it's public speaking or doing what you see here. Because I've done that so many times, I can walk in with the confidence. And somebody who doesn't have the confidence in that, they're going to shy away. Now, here's the caveat to all of that. There is a tendency when there is a conflict or when there is an uncomfortable situation to contract back to the area of comfort or familiarity. Let me say that again. When we deal with things in the present that either we don't like, or maybe that even we do like, there's a tendency for us to contract back to that place of familiarity or comfort. I've moved on from the editor's chair. That is not my job anymore. And just because something out of the ordinary came up does not mean that it's time for me to slip back 100% over to there, or even 10%, or even 5%. Because my future, while affected by my past, is not controlled by my past unless I allow it to be. And the same is true for you. As you go forward, as you have new opportunities ahead of you, and we all are going to have new opportunities, okay? That's just the way life works. We are always, always, always judging the cost of opportunities. But we also have to look at it. Is it moving me forward, or is it pulling me back? Is it moving me forward or pulling me back? Take those things that you like to do, that you're good at, that you've been familiar with, and apply them in a forward momentum to use it to your advantage. Here's what you do. Number one, you place the past in proper context. Number two, you recognize what does or does not benefit you. And number three, you take the appropriate steps to utilize your past to your advantage. If you do those things, all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, but over time, you will recognize, oh, it wasn't all bad. It wasn't all good, but it was all beneficial. How many of you have learned great lessons from a poor boss? The not how to do things lessons. How many of you have learned great lessons from a good boss on how to do things? Both of which happened in your past. Some are good, some are not good, but they benefit you in your present. Once we begin to shift our minds to that and recognizing that the past, with all the pain, with all the ups and downs, can benefit us, you will recognize that you are here for such a time as this. You are here for the right now. Everything that has happened to you has also happened for you. And that happening for you has created you to be the person that you are today. And that person has a very strong future. And that person has the ability to take all of the junk and all of the positive and apply it to your now. Once you get a hold of that, your future is even brighter than you could have ever imagined. Remember, the past is concrete. You cannot change it. The future is a vapor. You have no idea what it holds because there are so many factors. The only 100% control you have is right here in the present. And what you do with that is affected by what's there. And what you do here does affect what's there. But this is where the real control is. So I just want to encourage you this morning, whether you woke up today on cloud nine, or whether you woke up today going, oh my Lord, what have I gotten myself into, or where are we at, or what's going on? Can I encourage you? You are here for such a time as this. Let me go to the chat real quick to see if there's anybody else that are saying anything. Deneen says this is a powerful message that extends just beyond work. You're right, it does. It's every area of our life. We are who we are because of everything that has happened to us. And I saw a meme the other day, and I'm going to close with this. It said, you have survived everything that has happened in your life up until this point. You are a victor. You have survived everything in your life up to this point. You are a victor. And I'll add what I said before. Everything that has happened to you up until this point has also happened for you. And while you may not understand the why, you can utilize it to your benefit to impact not only your circle, your vocation, and your life, but impact the world at large. And I believe that we are all created for impact, whether no matter how big or how small. And that impact, you are here for impact. God bless, guys. See you later. That is going to do it for this episode of Keep This in Mind. For more, visit davidaspect.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. Thank you for listening, and remember, applied knowledge is power. God bless.